The Browns traded for Deshaun Watson. So the Browns got Deshaun Watson and a 2024 fourth-round pick. The Texans got 3 first-rounders, a 2023 third-rounder, and a 2024 fourth-rounder. So they swapped fourth-rounders in the year of 2024. And they also gave Deshaun Watson a 5-year, $230 million deal. Now, people thought Cleveland was out of the running. They thought it was between Atlanta and New Orleans. And basically, from the reports that I've been reading, is that Deshaun chose Cleveland because they offered him the most money, guaranteed money, and Atlanta wasn't willing to go as far as them. And that's why he chose Cleveland. Ultimately, there was this guy on Twitter called Sports Talk Jake, who reported that Deshaun was going to Atlanta.
And is this the guy who deactivated?
Yeah, and he made a bunch of bold statements like, I'll deactivate if I'm wrong.
He's real.
And all this other stuff. He actually activated his account again, though.
Yeah. Okay. Well, he didn't say he wouldn't be back, but he said, I'll just deactivate. He did that.
He deactivated because he was getting like death threats and stuff.
Really?
Oh, my God. People are crazy.
Yeah. All because Deshaun's not going to their team. Like, get over it.
So he's now on the Cleveland Browns. And Drew, what do you think about this? I know you've made a lot of really dumb statements about how you think Deshaun is the most talented quarterback in the NFL.
He definitely.
So now that you think...
What's dumb about it? He's got everything.
Because he's not more talented than Mahomes or Josh Allen.
He's more talented than Mahomes for sure.
No, he's not.
He is.
All right, but you by your standards, you think Deshaun Watson is one of the best quarterbacks, if not the best quarterback in the NFL.
Oh, yeah.
So I want to know your take on this whole thing, and I want to give me what do you think about the Browns moving forward, the Texans, and also if Atlanta ultimately dodged the bullet or they should be regretting that they didn't get Deshaun.
All right, so let's go piece by piece. We'll start with the Browns. Them getting Deshaun for 3 firsts, I believe is a 3rd and a 5th, is less than what the Broncos had to trade to get Russell Wilson. I thought that some players would be moved in this trade. No players were moved on the Browns side, just straight up draft picks. Now, it makes sense. This is a risk in taking Deshaun onto your team because there's baggage that comes along with it. With Russell Wilson, there's no baggage. You know what you're getting with Russell. He's going to be on the field. He's going to be playing, bearing injury. Now, on the Texans side, they get their draft picks. They have very firm capital for the future, and now they're stating that they're going to build around Davis Mills, which I don't think is the worst plan at this point in time. He's a solid option. You don't have to take on Baker or, think about giving Baker a contract in the future because he's going to be up for a contract next season. So you save yourself around $30 to $35 million, and now you have a quarterback going into his second year, and you have at least 2-3 more seasons of deciding whether this guy is going to be your future quarterback for time being. And now, in that sense, they still can build around Davis Mills, and they have the capital to do so. So Texans, I understand. They were going to move off Deshaun. Inevitably, Deshaun and them had basically come to an agreement that their time together was done with. They get their capital, and they have their piece in Davis Mills that they feel they can build around. So the Texans are sorted out. Now for the Browns. You're adding Deshaun Watson to a team that we already felt was loaded with talent. Top 5 talented roster on paper. Now you pair Amari Cooper, who, when Baker was his quarterback, now we're thinking, what is Amari Cooper's upside really? It's a big question in the air, given the fact that his last season with Dallas was full of highs and lows. Now he comes into a situation where he's about to have, in my opinion, the most skilled quarterback in the NFL throwing to him. Amari Cooper's going to have a field day as long as he can stay on the field. Now, you have Nick Chubb, who is going to be in heaven now that Deshaun Watson is his quarterback, because as if he already wasn't running rampant on every other team because he has such a great offensive line, now there's really no way you could scheme for Nick Chubb. You can't stack 7 in the box. You could do that before because who's scared of Baker Mayfield throwing the football? You're not. Now Deshaun Watson's your quarterback, and there's no guessing. There's no real scheme for the Browns right now. You can't predict one to pass. You can't predict them to run. They're just going to be versatile because, one, Deshaun Watson is a mobile quarterback, and he can do it with his legs as well. And he is one of the best passers, if not the best passers in the NFL. He's that great of a football player. Now, I would like them to add another wide receiver. Donovan Peoples-Jones is good enough to be a wide receiver too, especially with Deshaun Watson being the quarterback of the team. He's that talented. But I would still like to see them get another option. Right now, given the fact that they just gave Deshaun Watson $230 million guaranteed, it's going to be tough for them to do so. Correct. That's $230 million guaranteed. It was fully guaranteed.
Yep.
That is crazy. That alone is insane.
Well deserved in your eyes.
Oh, listen, without a doubt, when he's on the field, again, allegations, all these things aside, solely talking football, this guy is amazing. A 10 out of 10 ball player. He is fantastic. I'm looking at the Browns completely different now. This isn't a team that's led by Baker Mayfield. This is a team now led by Deshaun Watson, who, when he's on the field, can do everything perfectly. The last season that he played, 70% completion percentage with attempts of 8.5 yards per attempt. Only happened 4 other times in NFL history, and his team only won 4 games. This guy's as talented as it gets. The Browns have to be looked at as Super Bowl contenders, and this was an excellent move by them.
For me, you're right. Deshaun Watson is a great quarterback. He's an elite quarterback. Coming off of 2020, I would have probably ranked him as a top 5 quarterback in the NFL, without a doubt.
I'd hope so.
Mahomes is better than him right now.
Not after that choke job we just saw from him.
Oh, yeah, the choke job where he threw a dime to his receiver, but it was tipped up and intercepted in overtime. It was a dime. Watch the tape back. Watch the tape back.
I see it because
it was tipped.
It's one of the happier moments.
It was swatted, and then it got picked off. That's unfortunate.
Swatted by the corner that was originally playing ball on him.
It was a good ball, though. Josh Allen is better. In 2020,
we could have that conversation.
No, it's not a conversation. Josh Allen is better.
Yeah, recency bias. You haven't seen Deshaun.
It's not recency bias. I just think Josh Allen is a better player.
When they played 1v1, who got the better?
Josh Allen's way better than he was at that moment, though.
Yeah, Josh Allen.
Sure.
Josh Allen almost beat Deshaun Watson in the playoffs
while they were
when he wasn't even a great quarterback. He was an average quarterback at that point in time.
Who? Josh Allen
was average. In
Deshaun
in 2019,
beat him.
he was no. In 2019, Josh Allen was average.
Again, the score was 16-0. And the Texans won.
But he's saying Allen was average. Pardon me. He's saying Allen was average at the time.
For sure.
If you're going off that logic, how can you possibly say Deshaun's better than Mahomes when he blew like a 28-0 lead?
They were different that season.
Okay, come on.
They were
blowing a 28-0 lead.
They won the Super Bowl that year.
Come on, 28-0 lead.
They won the Super Bowl.
That's worse than the Falcons, bro.
They came back from double digits every single game they played.
Okay, regardless, this is my list. I don't really want to hear yours right now. Mahomes is better. Josh Allen is better. Justin Herbert is better in my opinion.
Jesus, man. What are you watching?
What do you mean?
What are you watching?
Justin Herbert had the most touchdowns in his first 2 seasons of any quarterback in NFL history.
God bless him.
He's better than Deshaun Watson.
He's not.
I'll probably put Deshaun Watson 4th. I might be missing a guy or two.
Aaron Rodgers?
Aaron Rodgers is better than him. So,
Eesh, no way.
Okay. Okay, whatever. So Deshaun Watson is probably the 5th best quarterback in the NFL, if maybe you want to put Brady over him, or you love Kyler, but you think Deshaun's better,
Deshaun,
right?
for sure.
So Deshaun is probably the 5th best quarterback in the NFL.
In your opinion?
I think it's probably a fact, I'll be honest. But yeah, sure. In my opinion. Yeah, I guess, yeah. It is my opinion.
Yeah.
I will say this.
Because you had Josh Allen over Mahomes a couple weeks ago.
I've already said multiple times they're 1A, 1B.
Listen,
so if I say Mahomes is better one day and I say Josh Allen is better the other day, you know what I mean? Because I've always said they're 1A, 1B to me.
I don't like that.
They're the same, bro. Like
I'm taking Josh Allen.
Okay, that's you. I'm happy.
So
for
you have Watson at what, 2 or 1?
For me, talent wise, he's number 1.
Okay.
Why are you giggling? Because it's just ridiculous. Just say he's number 1, bro.
He's number 1.
Just say he's number 1.
So
just say he's the best quarterback in the league if you feel that way.
I do feel that way.
Okay.
So you think Deshaun Watson is the best quarterback in the NFL?
For sure.
Okay, I'd rather you say that than say this talent thing, because we know he doesn't have a stronger arm than Mahomes or Allen. He's not a better runner than Allen.
He's not. He might be a better runner than Allen.
What?
Not in terms of contact.
What do you mean?
Because Josh Allen eats contact.
Come on, bro. All right. Let me just get back to this analysis.
Allen.
Dude, he's a freak. Josh Allen is a freak of nature.
Deshaun Watson in 2020 had one of the best quarterback seasons I've ever seen in my lifetime, and he was playing with virtually nothing on the offensive line, because people love to throw out like he was playing with nothing, but that's not really true. Brandon Cooks is a great receiver. Will Fuller is a great deep threat. Randall Cobb was a good slot. There were times that year where guys were hurt, like Fuller, like Cobb.
He got suspended.
And he had to count on Kiki Kute and Chad Hansen, and he still played well. And those are the games I'm like, oh, wow, like Deshaun has no offensive line, nothing at all, and he's playing well. But it's not like he had no weapons. The defense was just horrible that season. The Browns offense now has Deshaun Watson, Nick Chubb, Amari Cooper, Peoples-Jones. They signed Jakeem Grant, Njoku, Wills, Batonio, Nick Harris, who I know they cut J.C. Treader, but Nick Harris, I know it's limited snaps, but he played 67 snaps last season. He was pretty good at center. Wyatt Teller, Jack Conklin. This is the first time in Deshaun Watson's career where he's going to have an elite running game and an elite offensive line. Nick Chubb last season had over 1,200 yards, and he was hurt. 8 touchdowns, had 5.5 yards per carry. Knowing Kevin Stefanski and his offense, it's going to be a lot of play action. It's going to be a lot of easy stuff for Deshaun Watson. But he's also going to ask Deshaun to make some big-time plays, which we know he's more than capable of doing. So I'm interested to see how good the offense is going to be. With that being said, I think it's hard to project the Browns going into next season on the sole fact that we are not sure what the suspension number is going to be, because I'm pretty certain he's going to get suspended for how many games. I think Jacoby Brissett, that they brought him in, he can, if it's a 5-game stretch and it's
2 and 3,
it's like good teams, he can get you 2 and 3 or 3 and 2.
I agree.
If they're bad teams, they could start 5-0. Like Jacoby Brissett's not a bad quarterback.
Yep.
I would say maybe even like 4-1 if they're bad teams, and they do have a bad schedule. The teams that were in on Deshaun Watson, the Browns face all those teams this upcoming season. The Texans, the Saints, the Falcons, the Panthers.
That's exciting.
He's facing all those teams, and all those teams are not good teams. If they face them in the beginning of the year, even if it's Brissett, he can win all those games, in my opinion, with how loaded this Browns roster is. They still have holes. You mentioned it, wide receiver 2, defensive tackle is still an issue. I like Chase Winovich. I think he can be that guy opposite of Myles Garrett, but he was hurt last year in 2020. He did have a good year. He had 47 pressures. I think if healthy, he can complement him very well, but there are some holes there still. I think for the Texans, they didn't want a player back, because the player they were probably going to get was like Denzel Ward. They would have had to pay him 5 years, $100 million. I don't think the Texans are in a position right now where they want to pay any player. They just want to start this roster out fresh, build through the draft, and upgrade their talent that way. That's why I think it was just picks. And you're right, the Broncos gave up for more for Russell, but Russell isn't facing 22 civil suits.
100%.
Like Deshaun is still facing that. Mm-hmm. So that's still a big time risk. And as for the Falcons, I thought the Falcons were never in a position to try and trade for Deshaun Watson anyway. Their roster is too bad. They didn't have cap space. They would have really gave up all the future draft capital they had, and Deshaun Watson would have been virtually in the same position with Atlanta that he was probably in Houston. Yeah, probably even worse. And people talk about, Atlanta would have had all this cap space. Well, you take into account the cap number Deshaun now accounts for, which is like 40, 50 million. Mm-hmm. No, they wouldn't have, because it would have been a lot of money thrown at just that one position.
I don't know if it would have been worse than Houston, given the fact they won 7 games with virtually the same roster. Just add Deshaun, you understand what I'm saying? So that's why I don't know if it would have been like Houston.
But if I'm not mistaken, isn't really going to be traded. They only really just got Kyle Pitts. The defense is still in trouble. That's a pretty bad roster. But
there was a report that came out that if Deshaun Watson did go there, Jarvis Landry was going to sign. And another name, too, popped up. It was Jarvis Landry and somebody else that were going to sign with Atlanta. If that happened,
Landry
I think
bad.
And they just brought back Cordero Patterson today also.
Yeah.
And he took less money.
Yeah. So
he's 30.
He's a beast. He was a beast last season.
He's great. So I think Atlanta wasn't in a position to trade for him. The Browns, you're right. They're Super Bowl contenders. There's no doubt about that. But that being said, I have to see what happens with Deshaun Watson's suspension.
For sure.
But he is one of the best quarterbacks in the NFL. Like I said, I'd rank him 5. And I feel like, we might be prematurely leaving out Lamar in this conversation. Tom Brady's also coming back. But at this point in time, you're taking Deshaun over Tom Brady, given the age factor and just what he can do mobility-wise. So those are all things. But if Lamar Jackson has an MVP-level season this upcoming year, I probably have Deshaun Watson outside the top 5, but there's no doubt he's an elite quarterback.
Reason why I say number 1 talent-wise and not number 1 overall is because accolades get brought into it automatically. People say that Patrick Mahomes is the best quarterback in the league because he's been to 4 straight AFC championships. He has a Super Bowl MVP. He has a Super Bowl championship already. He has an MVP already. So that's why there's levels to it, why people will look at it from the outside looking, for sure. First season as a starter, threw 50 touchdowns. But Deshaun, in my opinion, taking everything into account, I look at that guy and I just think I don't want anyone other than Deshaun Watson as my quarterback.
You say that, though, but, like, I think it's pretty much consensus that Mahomes is more talented than him.
But at what, though? He's not more accurate than him.
Well, talented, right now
he's not smarter than him.
How can you measure that?
In terms of reading a field, his completion percentage is outrageous.
So you think completion percentage has to do with IQ?
To a sense.
Okay. I think it's pretty much consensus that Mahomes and Allen are more talented than Deshaun Watson. If you don't
we could have that conversation.
I think Mahomes is more talented than Allen.
I can't agree.
I mean, you're talking about accuracy, you're talking about skill right there.
Mm-hmm.
For one, Mahomes is still one of the more accurate quarterbacks in the NFL.
He is one of the more accurate, yeah.
With that being said, talent is who's more physically imposing and who has more physical traits.
I look at Deshaun and I think
Deshaun does not have more physical traits than Mahomes or Allen.
Definitely not Allen.
Or Herbert.
But how so?
Or Lamar.
What do you mean how so?
In terms of extending plays, Deshaun is as good as anyone in the league.
These three guys are too.
In terms of putting a ball where it needs to be, Deshaun is amongst the best.
Who has a stronger arm out of Mahomes, Allen, Josh?
Allen without a doubt.
Who had ranked them? Deshaun Watson, Herbert, Allen, and Mahomes. Who has the strongest arm?
Strongest arm, I'd go Allen, I'd go Mahomes, I'd go Deshaun.
Deshaun has a stronger arm than Herbert. That's not even a question, bro.
It is.
It's not. It's not a question. It's not. It's really not a question.
Again, we forget because Deshaun hasn't been on the field in a year.
No, I haven't forgotten.
Deshaun is a bad man.
I just watched his tape today.
And you weren't impressed?
I'm not saying I'm not impressed.
Dude,
but
this guy is a generational talent.
We're talking about arm talent only, bro.
Correct. And
Matthew Stafford had a stronger arm than Deshaun Watson.
But this guy's meticulous with his ball placement.
Okay, but like we're just talking about talent. Like,
and he still has the arm strength to fit in any window.
If you look, I have no. If you want to say Deshaun is the more skilled out of all these guys,
correct.
I really don't care about you saying that.
That's what I'm saying.
But when you say talent, that's a different thing.
Talent and skill are synonymous.
No, it's not. It's not synonymous. Talent and skill is not synonymous, bro.
To a degree, yeah.
No, it's not. No, it's not, bro.
You don't think so?
Michael Beasley is one of the more talented players we've ever seen, but he didn't have much success. He could be very talented and not be super skilled.
There you go. That's now I was waiting because you're saying he didn't have success.
So how is it synonymous then?
Talent and skill are basically the same thing.
I don't think so.
No, I don't necessarily agree.
If you're talented, you have a lot of skill.
No, that's not true.
Is Drew Lock not one of the more talented arm throwers? Like,
no,
he has a powerful arm. Drew Lock,
you can have a strong arm and not have it like a I don't even know why that name would come up.
No, this thing.
Allen coming into the league talented, but he didn't have the skills yet.
He was raw. Yeah,
he was raw.
Exactly. It took him time. That's why it took him time.
Yeah, he was one of the most talented, but he wasn't skilled yet. He was still raw.
So we're saying Deshaun isn't talented?
No,
or as talented?
No, we're saying
that's what I'm saying. He's not as talented.
Correlate. We're saying talent.
Yeah, I do think they correlate, but
that's what I'm saying. Yeah, Mahomes is more talented than Deshaun. So is Allen, and so is Herbert.
But I don't understand because they have a stronger arm, they're more talented.
I think it's more things. Well, with Josh Allen specifically,
Allen, 100%. We can really talk.
And Herbert
can't.
They're both 6'5". They're both 6'5" and have similar powerful arms in the NFL.
How tall is Deshaun?
He's 6'2".
Let's see.
Don't take forever,
oh my
bro.
God, you don't even know his height. We're talking about talent. Okay. You don't even know about height.
What does that have to do with him and his
talent
ability?
Height measures into talent. It's your physical measurables. That's what talent is, bro.
Yes.
Talent is your physical measurables.
Okay.
Like Tom Brady wasn't the most talented, but he became great off of skill. You can be not the most talented, but still be great because of skill, and you can be bad and be talented. Drew Lock is a talented player, but he's not good.
I don't think Drew Lock's talented.
He is talented. He has a very strong arm. His arm is powerful. He just doesn't hit his receivers because he's inaccurate. But his arm is powerful. He has one of the more better arms, but he's not great. He's not skilled.
Interesting.
What do you got to say, Riv?
I hate when he does that interesting thing. Hi. Well, since everybody was throwing...
welcome back, man. Here we go.
Everybody was throwing their little lists. You know, for me, I feel like Mahomes is number 1. Allen is number 2.
It's a basic list.
Then I go Aaron Rodgers at 3.
Okay.
I would put Deshaun at 4
and
Herbert at 5. I think those two, you can flip or flop either way. But I would put Deshaun at 4.
I like that
Herbert
list.
at 5. But Aaron is at 3 for me. So
that's fine.
For Cleveland, I don't want to go like say they're Super Bowl contenders yet, because like you said, we don't know how many games she's going to be suspended for. They still have a lot of holes in their offense and in their defense, so it's tough. But from looking at it from right now, Cleveland just got the best quarterback in their division already. You know, I think that's a great thing to do. I think getting that quarterback, because last year you saw Baker Mayfield, he was dealt with a lot of injuries. They were pretty much underwhelmed for most of the year, but they were still a talented team. But what was holding them back was Baker Mayfield being hurt and just him not being at his best. I think Deshaun Watson solves a lot of problems for them. He definitely helps them. He's one of the best quarterbacks in the league, of course. And then now you brought in, before you even got Watson, you brought in a consistent receiver in Amari Cooper, who we've seen can break off some big-time numbers, can have some big-time games. You know, he's played with a couple quarterbacks in his career, but he's shown the production that he can be really good. So I think that pairing them two, I mean, like you said, Nick Chubb, he's one of the best running backs in the league. So now you got a three-headed dragon where you can really do some damage. On defense, you got, in my opinion, one of the best man-to-man cornerbacks in the league in Denzel Ward. He's only 25 years old. Myles Garrett is one of the best. So it's like this team is not only young, but it's like they're elite players at a lot of positions. So I think Cleveland did the right thing. They realized they were a quarterback away from being Super Bowl contenders, and they pulled the trigger. You essentially gave everything up in draft, but it doesn't really matter when a player like that. And I understand they had to do more for Watson because of Russell, because of the allegation, but also because Watson is a better player at this moment in time than Russell Wilson. So you have to give up more for the better player, in my opinion. For Texans, Davis Mills played good last year, you know. So I think at this point, like you said, they didn't want to bring in a player they would have to pay. You know, they rather just start from the bottom and just draft and get all the draft pieces and bring everybody in and start fresh. You know, this is something that's been like surfacing around Houston for a long time. Deshaun Watson, his allegations. So I think they just want to start clean, just bring back draft picks, get back guys that fit their culture. And I think they just got a new head coach last year too. So I think they just want to bring back guys that are definitely in their culture, bring back something different, start fresh, start clean. Davis Mills, bring guys around them. They still have Cooks there. Laramie Tunsil's still there. So they still have guys there, but I think this draft capital is going to be good for them. For Atlanta, they still got Matt Ryan. You know what I'm saying? Matt Ryan is still a good quarterback. Kyle Pitts was a great pick for them last year. You know, so I think at this point they have A.J. Terrell, who's one of the best at his position, and he's really young. So they got some guys too. It's just they're in a position where it's tough for them. Like Deshaun, that wasn't a right spot for Deshaun. There was nothing for him there. I don't think that was a smart move. If realistically for me, I would have chose New Orleans if it was just between the Saints and Atlanta. The Saints make more sense for Atlanta. I think they should probably try to move off Matt Ryan and maybe start fresh like the Texans are going to do. But back to Cleveland, you know, I think this is a great deal for them. Will I put them as a Super Bowl contender? I don't know, because like I said, it depends on Deshaun. I still look at the Bengals and what they did last year, and their young guys are only going to get better. That's still a team you got to look out for. So in Baltimore, Lamar Jackson's coming back healthy, so that team was banged up last year. Then I look at your division, Denver, the Chiefs, the Raiders, who we're going to talk about in a little bit. So I look at the Chargers, who just got dumb nice in like 3 days.
They did.
So I look at a lot of teams in the AFC. I wouldn't necessarily call them Super Bowl contenders, but they're definitely in the right direction moving forward.
No, I agree, and you're right. Like, we have to see the Browns play first because Kevin Stefanski, there's mixed reviews on him, whether he's a great coach or he's not a great coach. He did win Coach of the Year, but there are still some
the verdict's not out
criticism about him. So that, you know, because of that, we have to see.
When you have Deshaun, like when you have a quarterback like that, I don't think you need an elite to great coach. I just think you need like a good coach, because I think when you have a quarterback like that that's able to manage the game and have that type of ability, you don't need him to be great. You know what I'm saying? You just need good. And if you get good, got a lead coach, I think you'll be all right.
And the thing is, Deshaun's great. So they don't have to worry about that. Yeah,
I don't think he's won. You know, I think there's guys who've, like, we just seen Josh out in the playoffs. He's different.
He's amazing. He is amazing.
Mahomes is different, but don't do that. don't do that. Mahomes has been the best.
He's really
like
good.
The past 2-3 seasons. But I would put, Deshaun, he's one of the best.
I was just looking up the playoff game the Texans played with the Chiefs just to refresh my mind because I forgot how the game actually went.
Was it 21-0?
So the Texans were up 28-0, I think, or it was like 20-14.
I think it was 24-0.
The game finished out as 51-31.
Yeah, they didn't score much.
Patrick Mahomes threw
crazy
for over 300 yards, 5 touchdowns. Deshaun had 3 touchdowns, 300 yards. But Mahomes
went nuts.
Yeah, outplayed him.
He definitely did.
He's better.
Yeah, he is better.
He's better. Like
he was better.
I think the only person who's outplayed Mahomes is probably Allen in a playoff game.
Yeah,
realistically,
and even
maybe
that
Brady.
was like tomato.
Yeah, so it's like,
even though I think Allen played better.
Yeah, I think Allen, he's the only guy who really went toe. Like, you can't really say he never went toe to toe with Mahomes. You know, his team was there every time. He just, stuff happens.